Jacques Lacan, the famous French psychiatrist, describes the real, his concept of things that exist in our world that we cannot express, that exists past the symbolic. Now that's a lot, right? But this analog horror series, The Real, has gotten 2 more videos, and it is getting deep. If you didn't see my last video, we went in a deep dive on the first 4 videos in this series on The Real, going about this theory by this French psychiatrist, Jacques Lacan, which, to be honest, in the beginning, I didn't even know was a real theory, but this does describe a real theory. My name is Pecan, and let's get into this. Jacques Lacan, a real guy, made a real theory called The Real. Now, is the mannequin entity real? No. The disappearances, all those cases that happened in the videos, no, that's not real. I'm not saying that that is real. It is not real, okay? Please do not think that I'm trying to say that that entity is real. It's not. But the theory of the real is real, and it's very complex. I've been taking notes on this because I had to actually deep dive into this. And am I an expert in psychology? No. So please don't take any of my understanding or theories on this too seriously, because I don't know all that I'm talking about, all right? But I tried to do my best to look up as much as possible before we watch these next 2 videos, because I wanted to do a thorough deep dive and theory on this stuff, because this analog horror series is scary and confusing, but also has a lot of real history behind it, because Jacques Lacan's a real person. And again, the entity is not, okay? And of course, I'll have the original channel linked in the description and the pinned comment if you want to go check out the first 4 videos in the series for yourself before you get here and we can all theorize together. Please go check it out, because they have a lot of content that isn't just The Real. I'm not going to be reacting to all of these series, so I would suggest go watch a lot of them for yourself. Jacques Lacan talks about 3 main things: imaginary, symbolic, and the real. But the best way that I saw it explained was in the example of chess, where the symbolic nature of things refers to the rules of chess, how the game is played, and that always looks the same no matter what the chessboard looks like and what the pieces are playing. And the imaginary refers to the way different pieces are named by shape and how that can change depending on, you know, what pieces you use. Going from chess game to chess game, you know, can you use different pieces to represent different things, but they serve the same function overall as the same chess piece. Like a queen can still move the same as a queen, but you can have a different piece there and name it something different, and it can still exist as the queen. And then the real exists past that, and it's the entire circumstances of the chess game. And if I'm wrong, let me know. But that's like what I kind of gathered while I was trying to understand this theory and this series. I don't know if we need to go in this deep to kind of understand this series particularly, because obviously the real in here is to kind of paint the picture of this other dimension, these things that we can't express in our own world, which is the entity, the mannequin that keeps popping up and killing people. So I don't know if it's loosely based off his original theory, because obviously the mannequin entity isn't real. I saw it also described as a piece of gum stuck on your shoe where you don't know that piece of gum is there, but it still impacts your walking. It's still there and impacting you, but you don't know it's there. And that's kind of what the real is. So it's so hard to understand. But this all kind of goes back into the videos that we watched, where the real was taking on different things depending on who was looking at it, like the 3 cases in the last tape where they all saw something happened, but they all saw it happening differently, and they all had a different explanation of those circumstances and what happened. And in these videos, the real is something horrifying, another dimension almost, a plane of existence above our own, because the real doesn't refer to reality, it's something different. Also, this might all tie into the mirror stage that Jacques Lacan talks a little bit about, and that perceiving that perfect image of ourselves that is different from our reality, because of all of our reality, you know, involves those different flaws and characteristics of an actual person, but our reflection in the mirror is just that, you know, perfect image of what we see ourselves as. And that's why in the very first tape, it was told to not have any images of humans in your house, no mirrors, because that's a way that the real can enter our world. Because in this video, the series, the real is something like an entity. I think the entire reel is embodied as the mannequin entity that we keep seeing. All right, this is clinical trial. So hopefully we pick up where we left off with, I guess, those people that were dissecting the entity and they were all seeing different things. The following commercial was displayed for 6 months in 1956. What? This could be yours. Dude, I want that. Heck yeah. What? A successful marriage? What kind of a commercial is this? Join us for science? Great. How much money? I'm signing up. You kidding me? Wow. Huh. We need you for the good of the nation. Okay. Science. Yay, science. Okay, it's supposed to recruit individuals to track. Oh, they were. Oh no! Don't tell me they were with the reel. For years later, the individuals who submitted their applications and their children and grandchildren became part of the clinical. Wait, their grandkids were grandfathered into the program, into the weird science experiments. How many people were in this program? Tape 11. Imagine your grandfather signs up for this.
Dr. Alexander Samard presents to the scientific community of the Department of Anomalous Reality Investigation Cases the clinical trial.
I can't believe that's a full department.
11 American citizens were chosen in 1991 to be directly exposed to certain objects that were captured due to their high probability of being corrupted by the reel.
Same.
For the safety of the department's personnel, the participants were isolated in heavily shielded rooms within the experimentation area.
They probably weren't getting paid enough.
The objectives of the trial were as follows. First, to study the interaction of the objects with the human mind.
Not a good
Second,
interaction.
To study the physical implications of contact with the reel.
Not good implications.
Third, to study the potential breaches that open up in the everyday world when the reel is disturbed.
Stop opening up breaches. Stop opening them up. Following images were taken by surveillance cameras in the containment cells. Ugh, this is... Ugh. The images were low quality. They're always low quality, and the low quality is always the scariest. Oh no. Isolation cell 1? We just... He was ordered to stand there for 3 hours next to a mannequin? I don't know if I could just stand still for 3 hours. Even if there was a mannequin. Nothing happened to him. Isolation cell 2. He was ordered to sit for 6 hours? Fortunately, Sasha, nothing happened to her. Man, what an easy job for these people. Isolation cell 3. Ordered to sit there for 5 hours in front of a mannequin. It's always a mannequin. Oh no. 4 hours in, the mannequin started to taking her form. She began to fade away. Wait, did they do anything about it? Oh no. Overwhelmed by panic, he started screaming in excruciating pain in his back. He's probably fine. After an hour, he went into a substance? What? Isolation cell 5. Brush your teeth. Every 5 minutes. Eventually she was able to stand up again. Wow. Dude, some of these people got the short end of the stick. The other guy was just standing there for 3 hours, and these people, like, died, I guess. Yeah. Or just sit next to the mannequin for 6 hours. Nothing happened to him. Adopted a similar posture. No, they're just buddies. They're just friends. What? Sat down and transformed into a statue. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Isolation cell 8. 3 hours. Nothing happened to him. Man, lucky you. The other guy turned into a statue. Isolation cell 9. Some of these people must think it's so easy money. Meanwhile, next door, people are dying. A wooden cube. She claimed that the form started, what? Coming out of the cube? Never ponder your orb too hard. Cubes don't show anything as described. So she was seeing something that wasn't really there? Or it was there, but only she could see it. Subject ROY, isolation cell 10. or to sit on the floor and place a bag over his head for 2 hours? Oh, you just don't want to see the guy? That's rude. Men only reported dizziness. I think that's normal from having a bag over your head for a few hours. He was also ordered to sit on the floor and place a bag over his head, but for 5 hours. Wow. He did not survive? What? The one guy just had a boring day at work. The other guy died. In cells 3, 4, 5, and 8, and 10, 2 hours after the test, the following individuals or entities appeared on camera. Huh? The nature is unknown. They're all likely. Oh, hello. I would freak out if that thing was in my cell. Yep. When they stare directly into the camera, that's not okay. No. Oh, no.
After the test, the survivors were taken to the Annihilation Chamber, where they were exposed to the strangest object of the real ever studied. The
Why
chamber
would you call
itself.
it that? Say what now? What is that? Okay, we gotta stop trying to perceive the real. Alright, listen, we'll go through and kind of try and understand all these after we watch the next video. Rupo creature? So apparently a new entity in the study of the real was investigated between 1994 and 1995. I wasn't born yet, so can't be me. I'm not the entity they're talking about, is all I'm trying to say. Alright, it's not my fault. And in Texas, the audio from the real was captured for the first time. Ooh. Captured in audio, though. From something like outside of our understanding? Like, what is that even gonna sound like? Hey, it's me, the real. It's probably not like that. 1994? What? Are all these instances of the real popping up? It's spreading very fast, apparently. And, okay, way too fast. I'm moving. I'm getting out of there. Oh, jeez. What? What is this
The head of
creature?
the Department of Anomalous Reality Investigation Cases, Dr. Alexander Simard, presents a new reality anomaly that could potentially constitute another instance of the real. This study commenced with isolated reports in the state of Texas from child psychologists, who, as is customary, find themselves dealing with cases of night terrors, phobias, school adaptation, among others. In the realm of psychology, imaginary friends are regarded as a wholly normal phase in the development of a child's psyche. In fact, it is even beneficial for fostering creativity that children invent beings in their imagination. The descriptions and drawings they create of these unreal entities are sometimes vague, but at other times, exceedingly realistic.
And sometimes really creepy. In that case, it's normally in a horror movie. What? Nancy Prescott provided insight into the behavior of her 6-year-old daughter. She had one of the drawings Delphine made. It's got to be something creepy. And when a child draws something creepy, you know, believe them, because every time in the horror movie they're just like, oh, look at these quirky drawings, and it's a demon. She was running around the yard, she says her imaginary friend Samoy, as tall as she is, and she loved the teddy bears. Oh, okay. Imaginary friend. Sounds normal. Probably it's not going to be. Sometimes I catch her talking to herself in the backyard, near a large dollhouse we gifted her. Okay. She mentioned that she always had something to talk about. Alright. Psychologists assured me that there's nothing wrong with it, but she'll outgrow it with time. I'm getting the feel that she didn't outgrow it, including a drawing for her imaginary friend. Oh, okay. Alright, to the left, Samoy. To the right, Delphine. Alright, I mean...
Throughout the year 1994, numerous psychologists, neurologists, and psychiatrists across Texas began to receive a significant influx of patients, all of whom were children, reporting incidents of uncontrollable crying at night, stories of monsters seemingly attacking them in their sleep paralysis, as well as bizarre descriptions of some of their imaginary friends.
Okay, I was gonna say, some of this is normal for kids, right?
Initially, these cases didn't cause much alarm until they started dramatically multiplying throughout the entire state, exhibiting certain commonalities that, according to the scientific perspective, were entirely inexplicable.
Sometimes kids are just
Between
weird.
February and November of 1994, only 15 cases with similar or identical characteristics regarding the description of a particular imaginary friend had been recorded.
It's getting a little
However,
more.
it was only between December 1994 and January 1995 that the number surged to 439.
Oh, jeez. All right, maybe it's an issue. You know, maybe that's an issue. Why does it look like there's a face in the background? There's some imaginary friends, 7 years old. Really big, kind of dark, and looks out the window every night. What? That says just the trash bags. Oh, so they're seeing like an actual object, but to them it's a creature, their imaginary friend or something else. Mom and Dad never see it. It scares me a lot. Dude, when only kids can see the monster, it's so terrifying. I saw it last night, and the night last week, and I think it was to tell me something because it always peeks through the window. Stop giving kids windows. Take them away. Take away their windows. I don't know what to tell you because it's nothing good. His big red eyes. Sometimes my room turns red.
The descriptions from the 439 children during the 2 months of sudden increase had the following commonalities: a tall, dark-colored entity,
I'd get rid of my windows.
texture resembling a garbage bag, bright red eyes, lacking hands, emitting a terrifying and highly unusual noise, desperately attempting to enter through windows. None of the parents had seen it. Appears to be named Rupo.
Board up the windows.
Some parents took photographs of what the children were pointing to on certain nights as the presence of Rupo.
Yeah, that's just trash bag. Yeah, I would
However,
think my kid's dumb
these turned out to be nothing more than garbage bags in the backyards of the houses.
Maybe put them in a trash can. I don't know. So they stop seeing them. What a crazy... Was there something there? Or am I just getting a little too paranoid?
In April 1995, the Fort Worth Neuroimaging Center made the decision to select a group of children for examination using the modern functional magnetic resonance imaging procedure,
That
along
looks like
with
a rocket.
magnetoencephalography and single photon emission computed tomography.
Those are some fancy machines.
The findings resulting from the medical analyses conducted on the children presented an alarming and enigmatic panorama, challenging any conventional explanation. A disconcerting pattern emerged, appearing to impact the occipital lobe and adjacent brain regions, leading to a notably heightened general cerebral activity, surpassing even the levels associated with epileptic episodes. Moreover, anomalies in the form of pointed structures localized within the cranial cavity were identified. Of particular significance is the fact that, in a surprising turn of events, all the children involved in the study maintained a state of vitality. This phenomenon posed an unparalleled enigma within medical practice, as the results seemed to suggest conditions that significantly defied known parameters of life sustenance.
It's messing with the brains.
These observations challenged the very foundations of organic viability and presented a formidable hurdle to contemporary scientific comprehension.
Interesting. So that's why they're able to see things that other people aren't seeing? That's why they're able to perceive the real? Or is the real impacting... Like, which is it the cause or the effect? I don't know. What? Hallucinated brain activity when Rupo is remembered. Ooh. Yeah, I'm just wondering if the real... this capturing Rupo? What? How are you going to capture it? You can't even see
Following
it.
the results of these
Would you take away the trash
examinations,
bags?
The Department of Anomalous Reality Investigation
They
Cases
took away
took
the whole
action
house.
and placed 3 houses in San Antonio, 2 in Fort Worth, and 5 in Houston under strict control. Various investigative groups stayed in each of these houses for a month, hoping to find analog or digital evidence and means to capture any record of this entity. On several occasions, the presence of the children was requested during the initiation of recordings from the window.
That's creepy. Man, I'd feel a little bit safer, you know, I guess, but still, I wouldn't want to go back to the house, you know? I wouldn't want to go back there. Like, how are they even going to capture it if they can't even see it themselves?
The outcomes were nothing short of astonishing.
Oh, never mind. What is that? What? It was taken between August and September of 1995. Okay, yeah, I will be afraid of trash bags for the rest of my life. Despite the climate conditions of the area, when the camera was pointed outside, the temperature dropped drastically. Additionally, a large amount of dew droplets fogged the windows and the camera lens inside the house.
Despite photographic documentation,
quality,
capturing the creature proved impossible. In fact, it was only visible through cameras, unlike the children who saw it with their own eyes. Nonetheless, a highly significant piece of evidence for the investigation was the acquisition of an astounding phonographic recording of the noise emitted by Rupo.
Oh, this is the noise of the reel. What's it gonna sound like? Is this what the kids were hearing? Yeah, I would be afraid of trash day.
This noise was confirmed by the children after hearing it from the computer.
That's what they were hearing?
After the photographic and phonographic records, the Rupo creature was not seen again.
Man.
And the minors who exhibited cerebral alterations were permanently placed under medical supervision of the department led by Dr. Alexander Simard, awaiting their evolution.
Their evolution? What? Alright, a lot to unpack with these. We're expanding into actually perceiving the real, which again, in the original theory, is something that we kind of use to express things that we can't express, to such a weird concept. Again, the real is a part of Jack LaCan's theory that involves three-part. The symbolic, which refers to the linguistic part of it, which the words we use to describe things, I believe, and the real exists further beyond that in things where we can't use language to truly define or explain things. So that's why it's confusing to us, but it still exists and impacts our lives, I believe, like how this creature still exists. It's not real, right? But it still represents the theory, which is so interesting to me. It exists for these kids, even though not everyone can see it. And it's happening more and more where it's kind of starting to leak in and becoming a problem because more and more people can see it. And it's becoming dangerous to our reality. So interesting. This whole series is such an interesting way to take on a real theory and make it a fictional work of horror. And I'm just on the Wikipedia page, so really my understanding of this isn't too deep, very surface level. Don't take anything of what I'm saying or trying to describe from this as fact or the true description or understanding of it. I'm just trying to understand a little bit more for myself to kind of get a better appreciation for what's happening, kind of trying to understand it. But I thought this part was really interesting. The real is that which is outside language and resists symbolization? Absolutely. The real as the impossible, because it is impossible to imagine, impossible to integrate into the symbolic, and impossible to obtain. So yeah, it's things that we can't truly explain, but it is always in its place in the world. It's always existing, but we can't truly explain it, which you can see where that concept kind of plays into these videos, in that the mannequin, the mannequin might not always be there for some people, but it exists, and it is a threat, even if some people don't see it, and that's why those people aren't in danger, but it's leaking out more and more into our world in these videos. I imagine these videos are going to progress as more and more people try to express and kind of see the real as it becomes more integrated into our society. I think the whole premise of these videos and the horror behind it is, what if the real does integrate into the symbolic and into things that we can see and perceive, these monsters that exist in the dimension beyond our understanding in these videos, again, of course. What happens if they integrate into our actual understanding of reality and what we can perceive, so then they can directly interact with us? And I think that's pretty scary to think about. And again, these monsters aren't real. None of it's real, but it's really cool way that this theory is being made into this video series. if anyone knows more about this stuff than obviously I could possibly try to claim to understand, which I don't claim to understand this at all. I am more confused now that I learned that it was like a real theory than before. But if anyone knows more about this, please leave a comment below. Talk about your theories of like how this plays into the videos, because I would love to see more of a professional explanation. But the part with the hallucination, non-hallucinant aspects, it kind of again goes into, we can't express these things, so there has to be something that's like affecting these people's brains that allows them to see it. But again, as an overall summary, if we can think of the real, the imaginary, and the symbolic as like an explanation on our reality, you know, the imaginary and the symbolic is like the language used to describe things that we see, but the real exists beyond those and things that we can't explain. And in this video series, that theory of the real is being used to explain the mannequin entity, the Rupo creature, things that we can't explain, things that we don't see, things we see as a trash bag, but is actually a horrifying creature. And it's integrating into our reality when it's not supposed to. And that's the scariest part, that it's slowly becoming part of reality, bridging a gap that isn't supposed to be there. And of course, leave any thoughts and theories down in the comments. I would love to see what you think of this series, what your explanation of things are, and what you think of the real. It's such an interesting concept. I don't know too much about it to fully explain it properly, but it's an interesting concept if you look it up for yourself. You know, I like these series where the main focus is on like theorizing, you know, coming up with an explanation of what's happening. And, you know, you could be wrong, but it's the fun in, you know, making theories. Either way, thank you all for joining today's adventure and reacting to the real. As always, hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more. And of course, hope you have a great rest of your day. And remember, with courage and determination, any adventure is possible. I'll see you on our next one. Bye-bye.